working at all different levels and organs of the Tribunal. The rules and case law contained in the archives of the Tribunal is yet another achievement which will assist and guide national and international practitioners for years to come. It is essential that these archives remain available to these practitioners in the future. Reflecting on legacy may, however, almost lead you to think the work is done, that the ICTY has completed its work. This thought is misleading. The moment will come that the ICTY will close its doors, that we are sure of. Before this time, however, a lot of issues will have to be dealt with, especially related to the remaining judicial activities. These issues will have to be addressed and decided upon shortly with due consideration for the remaining judicial tasks of the Tribunal. The ad hoc tribunals themselves have identified 9 essential functions that should be carried out by a residual mechanism: the trial of the fugitives, contempt trials, protection of witnesses, judgment reviews, referral of cases to national jurisdiction, supervision of sentence enforcement, assistance to national authorities, and the management of the archives. No one knows exactly how long these functions will have to be carried out, bearing in mind that more than 60 years after the end of the Second World War, there are still Nazi war criminals being tried, albeit exceptionally. We can only extrapolate how long we will be dealing with Balkan War suspects. This is to underline how important it is to make the right choices for the years to come. Please let me conclude, dear colleagues, President and members of the Tribunal and other courts, by sharing with you one last thought on the subject of legacy. The decision to establish the ICTY led the way to the creation of the International Criminal Court, with its closed system of law enforcement for war crimes, crimes against humanity, and genocide. It changed the way from the international community perceives international justice, from primacy of international justice to complementarity, and coupled with complementarity, the realization that international justice is the primary responsibility of states. This is a very important step. An important step is because it reminds us all that justice begins at home. With this realization comes the acknowledgement that doing justice at home effectively cannot be achieved without assistance from other states. The Netherlands is dedicated. The Netherlands is dedicated to bring to justice suspects of international crimes residing on Dutch territory. And we give legal assistance to states that are willing and able to prosecute these suspects. The time seems right to scrutinize the effectiveness of the international framework for mutual legal assistance and extradition concerning investigation and prosecution of genocide, crimes against humanity, and war crimes. Most of the treaties concerning these international crimes date back to an era when experience in national investigation and prosecution of such crimes was scarce, and the focus was primarily on the codification of substantive law. With the experience of today of the international tribunals and national jurisdictions, the time seems right to explore ways to enhance the international framework of cooperation in criminal matters. I deem it worthwhile to explore the possibilities and added value of a new international instrument, like a multilateral treaty which contains comprehensive provisions on extradition and legal assistance in international crimes. This, of course, without derogating the existing treaties and organizations in this field. Hopefully, this will lead us to effective adjudication at the national level of these most serious crimes. And with these considerations that I hope you will be able to share with me, I would like to conclude my contribution to the conclusion of the conference with gratitude to all the participants, to Professor Richard Steinberg, who summarized the discussion, today's discussion, and looking forward to Judge Patrick Robinson's really final conclusion with his concluding remarks. Thank you very much, and best wishes for your work doing justice.
Thank you, Minister Ballin. And finally, I give the floor to the Tribunal's President, Judge Robinson, to close the conference.
Richard Dicker said we have had a rich and intense 2 days of discussion. He could easily have added spirited and lively. But I believe it would be generally agreed that we have all profited from this conference. Personally, I am very encouraged and, in fact, buoyed by the references to the future conference, which will be just as important as this one. That's the conference that will deal with the global legacy of the tribunal. And I like the description global, because global allows us to look at the legal and institutional aspects of the legacy. And as the sponsors are represented here, I take this opportunity to say that we will be calling on them again. I would not lose that opportunity. I have to say that I may have to disappoint the Minister of Justice because I had made my closing remarks before you came. And as a result of that, as well as the encroachment by Professor Steinberg on what was my role to express my gratitude to a number of persons, I have very little to say. But I want to say thank you to the moderators. They did an excellent job. And I am now totally attached to this concept of running a conference, not on the basis of persons making statements, reading from their statements, but on an interactive basis between panelists, where the moderator asks questions and the audience becomes involved at a later stage. Then I have to thank all the panelists. They also have done an excellent job. The government of the Netherlands supported us very generously, and I have to express my gratitude to them through the minister. The Sanela Diana Jenkins Human Rights Project at the UCLA School of Law also supported us from the very beginning, and I want to ask the professor to pass on to Sanela Diana Jenkins our gratitude for that support. We are very sorry that she was not able to come. We had some difficulty with our budget, and we were concerned about it, but in the last days of preparation, the Ministries of Foreign Affairs of Switzerland and Finland came to our assistance, and we are very, very indebted to them. And then there is the staff of the tribunal who worked exceptionally hard at this conference. Indeed, with the downsizing at hand, some of them may want to go into conference management. I wanted to name a few persons, but I received a very stern warning from my registrar that it would be invidious to name particular individuals, and as he holds the purse strings, I will follow that instruction. But let me say that I'm very grateful to the staff of the tribunal. In a real sense, it is their conference. And at a certain time, it was a matter of regret for me that we had to limit the number of staff who could attend. And I felt very badly about that. And the reason for that was that we were oversubscribed. And you could see that yesterday when every single seat was occupied. And that itself, if one would like to see an indicator of the success of the conference, is a sufficient indication. So I want to thank, lastly, all of you for coming and supporting this very, very important conference. And I end by inviting you, make yourself ready to come again next year. I can't give the time, but I can give the assurance that it will take place, and that is the next big conference that will be hosted by this tribunal on its global legacy. Once again, thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, and have a good evening. I believe that I omitted to mention, to express my gratitude, and I do so now to the interpreters. Please forgive me. Without you, we would not have been able to proceed at all. So thank you.